Hello, Angie with Omega Star Pup Academy. In today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the items that accompany your puppy on the day that it gets to go home. So I'd like to cover some of the items that are in the go home bag today. First of all, you get this really nice little bag, and you can use it in your home to store toys, or I like to use mine in my car. So it stores leashes and collapsible water bowls and things that I might need when I'm en route. So you can use it for a variety of things. But inside, you will get a little calming anxiety puppy aid. And there's a Velcro on the belly, which is nice and secured. And when you open that up, inside there's a little heart. And you apply a battery to it, and then you push the button. And what that does is it allows the puppy, your new puppy, to feel like it has a companion right from the beginning. And it is amazing what these little puppies do for them. I do like to caution you, this is not a toy, this is a sleep agent. So they only get to use this when they're ready to take a nap or through the night. So they go home with a puppy. We also include a nice little blanket. These are fun to wrap them up in. Also, you can use it in their crate when you begin their crate training. And it's just nice and cuddly and right size for an 8-week-old puppy. And also a little toy. So this has a squeaker, has a crinkle. This is a soft toy, so I usually recommend that you only use that with your puppy when they can be supervised. And then the biggest piece is this tiny little collar. So this little collar will accompany them. It's always on the handle of the bag, and it has a nice little kitty bell. So you can use this in the very beginning. This is a breakaway collar. So if they would happen to get caught on something, it can break away, but it's sturdy enough to attach a leash to begin your training. And then inside, you're gonna find this charcoal envelope. Inside the envelope will be where your breeder will tuck in all the very important information. If you have a purebred dog, you'll get their AKC registrations. You'll also find a nice little folder like this that will include all of their vaccinations and wormings that they received while they were with us. So you'll want to take this folder along with you to your vet for your first vet visit. You'll also find a nice brochure on new vet supplements. We are a strong advocate of this supplement. It fills in all the nutritional gaps that a puppy could potentially need, especially puppies like to explore with their mouths. And so a lot of bacteria and things that we don't want to be in their mouths happens just because they're puppies, and New Vet helps to take over those gaps. And then you'll find this little guide here. It tells you our 3-3-3 rule, 3 days to decompress, 3 weeks to learn a new routine, and 3 months to start to feel at home. And then on the back, it has just some little guidelines how to establish a strong first week, and some of the things to look out for, and then some of the things that you may encounter. It's very basic, but it just kind of gives you a little highlight. And I'd like to just note that I have a very extensive puppy go home guidebook that will accompany your email once you place your reservation. And so you'll get that. I believe it's around 30 to 35 pages. It's very extensive. You can browse through it, or you can keep it on the back shelf if you have any behavior or training things that arise and you want to use it as a resource. The next step, really the first step once you've placed your reservation, is to make sure you secure your vet and that vet appointment. And the main reason for that is once the puppy is in your home, I want to make sure that you have the resources you need in the event that something could happen, or that we make sure that we're in with the vet so your records are established, and so that puppy gets off on the right steps so that you can continue the vaccinations and the wormings that are necessary to get them to that 16-week mark where they are now free to enjoy life with you. Another question that we get asked all the time is, what is the schedule of my puppy and how is it eating? And so the majority of our breeders are feeding on a buffet style, so basically free food. And there's many reasonings for that. In a litter environment, it's very important that every puppy has access to the food they need when they need it. So we might have an early eater and we might have a late snacker, and we need to make sure that they get to eat as needed. However, once they enter into your home, it is recommended that you feed 3 times a day, morning, noon, night. The back of your dog food that you're feeding will always have the recommendations of how much that puppy needs based on its weight. You take that amount and you divide it by 3. I like to always tell my families that if they have a strong breakfast and they finish it, the next morning, add a little bit more to that. So maybe you feed them a little bit over a 1/4 cup, or just so to make sure that they always have what they need, because every puppy will end up having its eating schedule. But the 3 times a day allows you the ability to make sure they're eating throughout the day, but also so that you can monitor their output, because in equals out. And so eventually, once you get closer to 4 to 6 months, you can probably back them off to twice a day feeding. Obviously, always consult your vet, but you'll notice that the puppy itself will actually start to kind of migrate that way. So they'll do a morning and an evening feeding. And always try and pull that food 2 to 3 hours before bed so that everything can be out of the system and you can have a smooth night together. Another great question we get all the time is, what brand of food should we be feeding? And I always recommend that you keep your puppy on the food that your breeder has started them on. It's recommended up to 4 months. When you get that puppy in your home in the beginning, we want to make sure their GI tract stays as consistent as possible. So if you change up their food, you have the chance of shaking that up a little bit, and that means that your house training efforts could be compromised. However, that decision is always yours and your vet's to decide upon. Not everything that you're going to need to get that puppy home is going to be included in this go home bag, but I do have a video called How to Set Your Home Up for Success. It's on my website, YouTube channels, will be included in your reservation email as well. There's a variety of ways to set yourself up, and I have a curated Amazon list, like to get your shopping started. If you want to shop from there, that's a great way to see all the items that you could potentially need and get yourself ready for this new little love to join you. So thanks so much for watching. I'm so excited to start this journey for you and to get that little love in your home.